Welcome to the finale of the Castlevania timeline in Part 6, Tragedy of the Belmont Clan. In Part 5, we saw the heroic Gabriel Belmont stand against the Lords of Shadow and free the world from their savage rule. After destroying them, he accidentally unleashed and then stopped a powerful demon from returning, ending with him absorbing its powers and twisting into a dark creature filled with the need for revenge. A dark creature who came to be known as Dracula. After Gabriel's transformation into Dracula, and with his life completely destroyed, he had nowhere to go. Dracula returned to Carmela's castle, the old home of the vampires, and took over the demonic structure, becoming its master. For a time, he stayed inside the castle walls, isolated alone with his suffering and his anguish. He blamed the Brotherhood of Light for all the pain he had suffered, and mankind, who he had sacrificed so much for, and received torment in return. Filled with the need for revenge, Dracula built an army of monsters, and sent his legions into the land, laying waste to towns and villages without mercy. The Brotherhood of Light's biggest fear had come true. Their greatest hero had become the scourge of mankind, and they fought against his hordes with no success, even attempting to attack the Vampire Lord directly. Unknown to Dracula, his own son Trevor was being raised in secret by the Brotherhood of Light to one day stand against his father. Trevor was trained as a fierce warrior like his father before him, but his family history was kept a secret from him until the Brotherhood felt he was ready to hear the truth. As Trevor grew into a strong young man, he met a young woman named Sypha Belnades and eventually married her. In the year 1067, Trevor and Sypha welcomed their baby boy into the world, who they named Simon Belmont, who would play a crucial role in the history of mankind's fight with the Dark Lord. After years of training the young man into adulthood, the Brotherhood felt that Trevor was ready to hear the truth and told him that Dracula was his father. And not knowing the true reasons behind Marie's death, they also told him that he had murdered his mother. Leading us to the year 1073 and the event of Castlevania, Mirror of Fate. A now 27-year-old Trevor Belmont was devastated and ashamed of his family name and was determined to make things right.
It must be me, Sypha. It can be no other. You understand that, don't you? For the honor of my own family, I cannot live with this shame. I must protect you and Simon from this. I must avenge my mother.
Before leaving on his journey, Trevor left Simon with a small piece of the Mirror of Fate the Brotherhood had given him, not knowing that the mirror could manipulate the events in someone's life.
I have carried this small piece of mirror since I was a boy. It is said it comes from a magical mirror, capable of showing your past and true fate. Though it has never shown me anything, perhaps one day, my son, it will reveal something of yours. Keep it and always carry it with you, Simon. Will you do that for me? If I have not returned by dawn, take the boy and leave this place far behind. Take to the forest. Do not look for me.
Come back to us, my love.
That was the last time his family would see the man named Trevor Belmont. Armed with his combat cross, the fearless warrior made his way to Dracula's castle and immediately faced the monsters, now completely loyal to Dracula and protecting the entrance. Trevor made his way through the depths of the castle in the hopes of getting inside unnoticed, going through the Lady of the Crypt, who appeared to be a vulnerable woman, but was actually a giant deformed insect, which lured humans to their death. The monster's body smashed through the main gates, and Trevor made his way inside the castle, meeting the Lost Soul, the entity that was tied to the Mirror of Fate. The Lost Soul told Trevor he was doomed to fail in his quest, and that he was there to guide him to his fate. Refusing to believe that his fate was already written, Trevor refused to listen to the spirit.
I will hear no more from you.
Then he continued through the castle in his search for Dracula, eventually running into a group of witches trying to resurrect a demon they worshipped within the castle. It was the Demon Lord, the monster that Gabriel had vanquished so long ago when Marie was pregnant, now craving for revenge against the Belmont.
Smells like his.
After ending the threat of the Demon Lord, a mysterious stranger looked upon the corpse with a smile. This was the Toymaker, a kind old man who once wanted to create toys for children, but was invited into the castle by the Bernard family, who originally owned it and corrupted him with demonic possession, resulting in a split personality between his human side and the Toymaker. He was now a crazed monster that enjoyed creating death traps for his master Dracula. After slaying the Demon Lord, Trevor discovered Dracula's throne room and walked towards his fate, with the Lost Soul looking on, satisfied. And Trevor met his father for the first time, ready to slay the creature.
I was planning to pay a visit on the Brotherhood. It was unnecessary to send someone special to meet me. I say that because I see you hold one of Gandolfi's weapons in your hand. Yet I would know the name of the warrior who wields such a weapon.
Someone for whom your very existence brings shame upon me and my family, devil. You are an abomination upon this earth. I know who and what you are, and this day I claim vengeance for my mother's murder.
Revenge is a powerful emotion, my friend. It has been my closest companion for many years. I don't know your mother, boy.
But you did know her. You knew her very well. I'll tell you her name, right before I cut it into your heart!
I will crush the bride.
Trevor's combat cross had been plunged into his own chest by Dracula. As he lay there dying, the Mirror of Fate revealed to him his father's true history and the tragedies that he had suffered, now truly understanding who his father was.
I understand now. I understand everything. I have fought against my fate, even though it was in vain. But you accepted your fate. You were betrayed at every turn, yet you still followed the path set out for you. Even when that betrayal included your own wife. Fate is cruel. But in the end, I pity you, Father.
Father? What is this?
The mirror also revealed to Dracula that Trevor was his son, and the Brotherhood had taken him in secret. Realizing what he had done, Dracula was wrecked with sorrow.
Damn you! Why? No! No! Live! Live! My son!
Dracula used his immortal blood to try and revive his son, but it was too late, and Dracula buried his son in a tomb within the castle. This time, the Brotherhood had gone too far, and had to pay with their lives immediately. They took his son from him, and trained him to fight his own father. Dracula commanded his legions to attack the Brotherhood directly, and all the villages protected by them. Dracula swore from that day on he would hunt down and destroy all of God's children. Lycans attacked Trevor's village, and Sypha tried escaping with Simon, telling him to run into the forest.
Run, Simon! Don't stop! Keep going to the forest! Don't look back! Run! Run!
The terrified boy had just lost his mother right in front of his eyes, and he ran into the mountains, escaping with his life. He was eventually found by a barbaric tribe of warriors that lived in the nearby White Mountains. Simon knew his father had failed, and swore to one day avenge the death of his parents by Dracula's hand, not knowing the history of his lineage. The boy was raised by the tribe with non-stop training in the art of war, and grew up to become a mountain of a man, ready to slay the vampire that caused so much pain and suffering. Eventually, he crafted a whip he called the Beast Hunter, and mercilessly hunted down Dracula's forces, preparing for his own journey to the castle. Simon's reputation across the land surpassed even his own father's, and at age 36, Simon set out to kill Dracula. This leads us to the year 1103, and Simon's quest in Mirror of Fate. Simon looked for a way through to Dracula's castle, and like his father, made it to an underground entrance, and found the lost soul trying to guide him to his fate.
No! Show me more, damn it! I am here to avenge the death of my parents. I mean to end the evil that rules here. Will you stand in my way? Alright, we're... Damn it!
Deep underground, Simon was attacked by monsters and discovered a spirit that was waiting eagerly for him to arrive. The spirit flew into Simon and joined him on his quest. Unknown to Simon, this was the spirit of his mother Sypha, trying to protect her son. And together with his mother, he faced the horrors of Dracula's castle, including a cursed night watchman, forever doomed to wander the world of the living, and responsible for making sure every lantern in the castle stayed lit. After being defeated by Simon, the Night Watchman was devoured by his monsters, turning him into a monstrous creature. He also found the spirit of a fallen Brotherhood warrior called Schneider that was killed many years ago within the castle. Sypha's spirit called out to Schneider, and Schneider agreed to help Simon on his journey. And at the same time that Simon was traveling through the castle, something miraculous was happening. His father's tomb, hidden within the castle, was opened. and Trevor took a breath once again. The blood that Dracula had given him had slowly worked through the decades to bring him back, but he was no longer the same, and struggling to remember what happened, the lost soul appeared to him and used the Mirror of Fate to reveal the truth.
Who am I? No. I see who I am. Is this to be my fate? Not this. Please, not this. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Tell me where he is. It is time for us to meet once more. Father.
Having lost his humanity as well, he abandoned the name Trevor Belmont, knowing that life was over, and accepted the reverse of his father's name, Alucard. Then left to find his father and finish what he came to the castle to do, and faced a familiar enemy.
Look at what you become. You don't remember me, do you?
The Daemon Lord he had left in pieces had returned, now rebuilt and enhanced by the insane mind of the Toymaker. Still not used to his new abilities as a vampire, Alucard plunged to the bottom of the castle.
And die!
As he explored his father's home, he discovered that he could now control bats, turn into mist avoiding physical harm, and could turn into a wolf-like creature, greatly enhancing his strength. Alucard ran into Simon in a fight for his life against one of the Toymaker's many traps, and deactivated it, saving him. Recognizing Simon as his grown son, Alucard panicked and left before Simon could see his face.
Wait! Who was it that helped me escape? Do you know him? Stupid creature!
As he left the area, Alucard came face to face with the now mutated Watchman that Simon had previously defeated. As Alucard fought the monster, Simon discovered his father's combat cross, and one of Zobec's necromancers appeared stealing it from him, and revealing that Zobec was still alive and looking for the vampire killer, which Gabriel had left behind broken in the Forgotten One's realm.
Your father was not worthy of carrying it, and neither are you! Join me soon, young Belmont.
Let's see how you fight without this!
Simon later ran into another one of the castle's traps, and Alucard had followed him, rendering the trap useless and saving his son once again. This time, he met Simon face to face, horrified that his son still had the piece of Mirror of Fate that he had given him.
No. Don't come any closer.
You helped me once before, and now you do so again. Why? Who are you?
That isn't important right now. That weapon you are carrying, how did you come upon it?
There is a presence in the castle that guides me. It took me to it. It belonged to my father. I will use it to avenge his death, and that of my mother.
How did your mother die?
Dracula attacked the Brotherhood's stronghold with his legions. None survived. My mother was killed, trying to keep me safe.
I see. So now you plan to face the Prince of Darkness alone?
Dracula watched the conversation from above, realizing that his son had come back to life, and angered that his bloodline was conspiring against him.
This I promise. You shall not stand alone against him.
Both men continued working their way to Dracula's throne room, and Alucard ran into the Daemon Lord, hunting down his prey one last time.
I knew it couldn't be that easy. Much better. This way I'll be able to deliver your remains to the toilet. So he can have some fun.
Only one thing stood between Simon and Dracula's throne room. The demonic, devoted servant of Dracula known as the Succubus, waiting for Simon in a fantasy world she had created. The Succubus attempted to seduce Simon, but the fierce warrior could see through the illusion, and he had had enough.
Don't you like how I kiss Simon? Look at this, Simon.
With nothing in his way any longer, Simon entered Dracula's throne room and stood before his grandfather.
You fight well. Worthy of the name Belmont.
I am Simon Belmont. I have come to avenge the death of my parents. I've come to destroy you.
Tell me, how do you plan to do this, Simon Belmont? With that, perhaps. That relic you carry holds no power over me, young Belmont. Know this, your father died by my hand. Will you suffer the same fate? You cannot kill me. You will die in vain, just as your father did.
We'll see about that now, won't we?
And at that moment, Alucard entered the room to aid his son.
Father. I have come to finish what I started.
I know why you have come. I had hoped you would stand with me, son. Hope that you would understand why I must destroy the Brotherhood. Join me in remaking this world.
Join you. Look at me. You've made me a monster. Father, you made me like you. A creature that thirsts for blood, filled with hatred. You should have let me die that night.
No matter. It all ends now.
Let him go. This is between me and you.
He is a Belmont. I will not suffer that bloodline to live any longer.
The father and son duo attacked Dracula, Alucard fueled by his anger over what he had become, and Simon fueled by the murder of his parents.
Deal with him, Alucard.
Dracula took control of Simon and forced him to attack his father, but Alucard refused to harm him and absorbed the darkness out of his being, and Dracula was forced to face the pair in a final battle for his life.
You're pathetic. No, Simon! It must be you!
Simon had plunged the stake into Dracula's heart and seemingly killed the vampire, but Alucard knew that something was wrong, and he prepared to say goodbye to his son.
This is not how a vampire is supposed to die.
What do you mean?
It wants the pendant you are wearing.
Not a chance. It was a gift from my father. It's all I have of him.
Your father gave you that without knowing its true power. As long as you wear it, you will not be able to decide or act entirely for yourself. Your actions will be guided, manipulated. Do you think you are here entirely of your own free will? Let it go. It doesn't belong to you. Just as it did not belong to your father.
Will you tell me now who you are?
Simon, shocked, finally realized that this man who had helped him defeat Dracula was his father. With Dracula's power no longer within the castle, it began crumbling, and Alucard escaped through a window as Simon watched from afar and said one final goodbye to the father he would never see again.
Farewell.
Closing off the events of Castlevania, Mirror of Fate. Simon Belmont lived out the rest of his days, and the Belmont bloodline came to be known as heroes, and worked with the Brotherhood of Light throughout the years, helping to protect mankind. And Alucard traveled throughout the centuries, staying away from human cities, and attempted to find a way to stop his father again, should he return. And he eventually forged a weapon called the Crissaegrim, a sword which incorporated a fragment of the vampire killer Gabriel had driven into Carmela's chest. While it didn't have the power to destroy Dracula completely, the Crissaegrim would put him into a deep sleep, and he could only be awakened if it were removed. Dracula was an immortal creature destined to return. The death Simon gave him was only a temporary one, and eventually Dracula and his castle reappeared. And Dracula, realizing he could not die, began craving a permanent death, and continued cursing God for his empty existence. During his travels, Alucard learned his father had come back, but he also gained knowledge of an old enemy. Death, also known as the Lord of Shadow Zobec, had returned to life after being killed by Satan, but went into hiding fearing Dracula's power. And Satan's children on Earth, his acolytes, were looking for ways to bring him back to the world. But with Dracula still living, they wouldn't dare attempt to bring back their father in hell, knowing that he had previously been defeated by Gabriel and was now astronomically more powerful. Over the years, Alucard grew to understand the events that led to his father becoming the Prince of Darkness, and felt a great pity for him, perhaps even some amount of love towards him. And he thought of an idea that would rid the world of evil once and for all, and would potentially give Dracula the death that he desired. With Dracula's legion of monsters terrorizing the land constantly, the Brotherhood of Light decided to attack Dracula as one, and get rid of him once and for all. Sometime in the 1500s, they launched a massive assault against Dracula and his castle in the hopes of finally ridding the world of his darkness. A group of knights were able to barge into his throne room, but the powerless humans had no chance of making it out of the encounter alive.
Steady, lads. God protect us.
What a timely coincidence. I'm dying for a little drop of blood.
Dracula raced through his castle, plowing through the soldiers that dared attack his home.
What is a man? But a miserable pile of secrets.
The Brotherhood had unleashed one of their most powerful war machines on his castle, along with one of their holiest warriors, but nothing could stand against Dracula's power. Taking the enormous war machine down, only a small amount of warriors were left to challenge Dracula, along with the paladin that believed he had the power to stop the monster.
Die, monster! You don't belong in this world!
Agios, Linkiros, Athanatos, Jehovah, Adonai. Requimus vobis, ad coeligamus vos ut non habeatus. In anima, nec in corpore.
Standing among the dead, Alucard appeared, facing his father.
Trevor?
Trevor died a long time ago, Father. You made me what I am. I stand here before you, reborn, a vampire. I am Alucard.
Why are you here?
Alucard revealed to Dracula that Zobec was alive and in hiding, and Satan was looking for ways to return. He knew that Dracula wanted revenge for what they had done to his life, and Alucard couldn't defeat them without his father's help. Wanting to finally free humanity from the grasp of evil, Alucard needed to find a way to draw out Satan and Zobec, so Dracula can end them. He would do that by convincing his father to let him plunge his sword, the Crissaegrim, through his chest. Putting him in a deep sleep would make Satan think the Dark Lord was dead, and when the devil returns, Alucard would reawaken Dracula to face him again, and kill him on Earth. But Dracula needed to gain Zobec's trust for this plan to work, since he would be left with his powers dormant and his memories fragmented, taking time to regain them. After hearing Alucard's plan, Dracula agreed.
Then do it.
That damned sword into my heart before I change my mind! Son, when will I meet you again?
When I put my hand on your shoulder, Father.
Alucard took his father's body with the Crissaegrim in place and put him in a tomb to await the day of Satan's return. Centuries passed without Dracula, as humanity rebuilt. Eventually, much of the castle was torn down, and a city was built over its foundation as the world moved on, while Dracula slept deep below. Now, in modern times, demons were being spotted in many areas, and Satan's acolytes were making final preparations for his return. The time had come for Alucard to awaken his father, but as he was about to, the spirit of his mother, who he had communicated with from time to time, appeared with a dire warning.
Son! You must come with me to the castle now!
What is it?
The castle senses the danger. It has ordered its servants to put the Void and Chaos relics out of your father's reach. Without those weapons, he will be trapped in the castle forever. You must restore the weapons to where your father can find them. I understand that he must make this journey of redemption of his own free will, but if we don't help him now, he is lost. We are all lost.
I understand, Mother. Take me to the castle.
And Marie's spirit took Alucard to the castle. Dracula's castle was tied directly to his power and could not survive without its master. Feeling the threat of Alucard's influence over his father, the castle hid Dracula's weapons outside of his reach, to prevent Dracula from regaining his power and escaping its grasp. Alucard made it his mission to return Dracula's power to their rightful locations, where Dracula can find them after reawakening. Now in his father's castle, the creatures inside worked to hide Dracula's weapons and keep them out of Alucard's grasp. The damned blood that was the spirit of the castle took control of the monsters in possession of Dracula's Void Sword, the physical manifestation of the cold, dark void in his heart, empowered with ice abilities. Killing the monsters, Alucard had reclaimed the Void Sword. Now Alucard just had to retrieve his father's chaos powers, located in the castle's innermost chambers. This was the location where Dracula locked himself away after defeating the Forgotten One and lost his mind, covering the walls in senseless writing, and his cries of despair and bouts of insanity still echoed throughout the chambers. There, the castle reached out to Alucard, angry with his intentions to free his father.
Tell us. Is this how you roam his dwelling? You see his rest. You kill his sons. What are we going to do?
What indeed? I will honor my father by freeing him from you. It is done, Mother.
Reclaiming the Chaos Power, Alucard returned it to its rightful place, and Marie transported him back so he could reawaken his father. But Alucard felt someone else's presence in the chapel, and left to protect Dracula from the intruder. Zobec had sensed Alucard's power, and sent his lieutenant to investigate what it was, threatening to unravel the plan that Alucard had crafted so carefully centuries ago.
Well, well. So it was your presence we felt. We thought it was your father. My master is going to be so disappointed.
Nice armor.
Alucard destroyed Zobec's lieutenant, realizing he could use this to their advantage, and took the armor he was wearing. Then Alucard removed the sword from Dracula, knowing he would awaken in a few hours. Then, posing as his lieutenant, he reported to Zobec that Dracula had returned.
Lord Zobec, we found him. You were right. He is here.
This leads us to the year 2057, and the events of Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. Weakened and with no memory of his pact with Alucard, Gabriel made his way to the cathedral and sat down, thirsting for blood. After Alucard, posing as Zobec's lieutenant, told him of Dracula's return, Zobec went to go see his old rival himself.
Where have you been all this time?
And what of you? Why have you been hiding all this time? Gabriel.
Don't you dare call me that. Saint Dracula. What do you want, old friend?
Satan's acolytes are readying for his imminent return. Help me stop him, or you and I will become his favorite pets. For all eternity. Stop skulking in the shadows!
I cannot die. Yet. I cannot live.
Help me, and I can free you of your immortality. Soon, old friend. Soon. It will be over.
Dracula wandered the streets thinking about Zobec's promise to finally end his torment. In a city alleyway, Dracula encountered a monster straight from the depths of hell, and still weak, struggled to defend himself. Alucard, posing as the lieutenant, saved his father as he passed out, and Alucard brought him to Zobec. Zobec placed him in a box, and waking up, Dracula sensed fresh blood, and after centuries without feeding, it was finally time. Refreshed after his feeding, Zobec told Dracula that he needed his help to track down Satan's acolytes to discover where Satan would be returning. Zobec had found the broken vampire killer in the Forgotten One's realm, the one weapon that could kill Dracula, and Zobec promised him that he would end his life with it if he stopped Satan.
I will deliver the fatal blow to your heart myself.
And I am sure you will fulfill that vow.
But Dracula had to regain his powers before standing a chance. Zobec sent him to the location of the first acolyte, in the city's science district, inside a company called the Biochemic Corporation, which was owned by one of Satan's acolytes and made his way inside. While exploring the corporation, he encountered a young boy who looked familiar to him. The boy offered to help him, and Dracula found himself transported into his old home. Since the entire city was built on the castle's foundation, the castle could feel Dracula nearby and reached out to him, attempting to pull him back in. Dracula's castle was no normal structure. Inside was another realm where time no longer mattered. Different dimensions and realities overlapped and clashed with each other. Chaos reigned supreme, and spirits, both good and evil, could roam free. The child Dracula was seeing was the spirit of Trevor's human side, driven out from him a long time ago, trying to pull his father, Gabriel Belmont, back from the darkness. Dracula found the Void Sword that Alucard had left for him, and the castle responded.
Don't leave us, my prince. Don't go.
This is your home. We are your king.
We are your triumph.
This is your fault.
What are you doing?
You can't discharge.
Then he discovered a vampire knight threatening the spirit of Trevor.
Stop! My lord! My friend!
We will kill anyone who tries to take you away.
No. This boy is under my protection.
You're not our lord anymore!
After saving Trevor, Dracula found himself back in the Biochemic Corporation with a couple of scientists, led by a woman called Roisa Volkova. Roisa was working on developing a demonic virus that could mutate humans into hellish creatures. Realizing she was one of Satan's acolytes, Dracula attacked her.
If I had known you were coming, I would have made myself more presentable. I'm gonna have such fun with you! You make my...
After knocking her unconscious, he took her to Zobec for interrogation. Back in Zobec's tower, Dracula ran into Trevor's spirit. Trevor warned him that the three Gorgon sisters of Greek mythology, led by Medusa, had gotten their hands on his chaos power. Traveling back into the realm of his castle, Dracula tracked down the three sisters. Medusa, corrupted by the castle, turned her two sisters against their lord, and merged into the giant Gorgon.
We can't let you leave here, my lord.
Dracula had retrieved his Chaos Claws, powerful gauntlets manifested from his rage and fury. Going back to Zobec's tower, Zobec complained that he couldn't read Royza's mind, due to her being in her demonic form. But he believed her demon powers were manufactured in the lab, and Dracula thought if a virus was made, there must also be an antidote.
This disease is manufactured, so they must have made an antidote as well.
Oh, you are so clever. So clever, my handsome prince.
Of course.
And he set out to find it to turn her back into human form, allowing Zobec to read her mind. But Zobec, not wanting to reveal their location, thought it was too dangerous to teleport Dracula back to the science labs, so he had to make his way on foot. And he discovered that Royza had already unleashed the virus, turning the residents of the city into demonic creatures. Standing in his way were also the riot police deployed in the area. Making his way through to an underground train, Dracula faced a powerful demon.
I am the only one who lives forever.
After the attack, Zobec's bodyguard appeared offering help, and he still had no idea this was his own son in disguise. Then Trevor's spirit appeared again, begging Dracula to save his mother. Back in the castle's realm, the castle summoned the spirit of Carmela, the lord of the vampires that Gabriel had slain during the events of the Lords of Shadow. Offering her blood and loyalty to Dracula, she ensnared him in a trap.
Now I am inside of you, and your weakness will be my strength. Bitch! You'll never leave here, my prince.
And for the first time in 1,000 years, Gabriel saw his wife standing before him, begging for him to come back to the light.
Marie?
Gabriel,
Are you real? Or just a dream too?
I am here.
You're standing here as if 1,000 years had not passed since the last time I saw you alive. And our son, hidden deep inside you.
I had to protect him from you, Gabriel. They told me what you were going to become. I had no choice.
And did they tell you of your own death at my hands? Did they tell you what would happen to our child? Did they tell you that blood would fight against blood for all eternity? You were deceived, Marie. Is this God's reward for the devoted and the foolish?
You are no fool, Gabriel.
I am no longer Gabriel, woman. I am the dragon, Dracul. I am the Prince of Darkness. I am and will be forever a thorn in his side. That is mine.
Ah, this castle and its inhabitants fear that you will leave this place forever. They will stop at nothing to keep you here. Your power keeps them alive.
I know. This place has been my home for many centuries. Now, all I want to do is escape.
It's time for you to return to us. To your family.
Dracula was getting tired of the castle's tricks and tracked down Carmela, still trying to seduce the vampire lord away from his wife.
You will live only for me.
Gabriel! No! You're coming with me! Gabriel!
In your dreams.
Dracula returned to Zobec, antidote in hand, and injected the acolyte. But instead of reverting back to a human form, she transformed into her true identity as Satan's daughter.
I will bathe in your blood in the presence of my father!
Pulled back into the castle again, Dracula had to face many tasks in his quest to find the second acolyte. He also ran into Agrius, the brother of the old god Pan, seeking revenge for his brother's death.
You shall not pass! I waited centuries for this moment.
He also encountered the Toymaker, corrupted by the castle against Dracula.
Dragons are on conflicts. And his flame sprung from the dragon's belly. Come on! Damn! Stop undermining my play!
Oh my!
Goodbye, old man. Guard your heart well.
Dracula learned that someone had been looking for him, and he set out to find this stranger, thinking that he could provide a clue to the location of the second acolyte. And he found a hooded man. Dracula knew there was something strange about this man, since Hell's most powerful demons were also after him, and Dracula chased him until an enormous monster interrupted them. And Dracula noticed the man had much of the same equipment that he wore in his life as Gabriel Belmont, and tracked him down to a church. Unknown to him, this man was Victor Belmont, the last descendant of the Belmont bloodline.
Be careful, there is a tremendous power close to you.
It's not the acolyte, it's something else. Something I have not felt for.
The Brotherhood of Light.
Its force is affecting my abilities. I did not expect this.
has failed, I will prevail!
I'm Victor. Victor Belmont. Commander of the Brotherhood of Light. Protector of humanity. And the last of my illustrious bloodline. We thought you were dead.
I'm immortal, warrior. Something you Belmont don't seem to understand.
We're hiding people here who haven't already been infected. I don't know how much longer we can hang on.
Not long. Take it. It's an antidote to the infection.
Wait! Whose side are you on?
I stand alone.
You helped me. Maybe I can help you. You're looking for the acolytes, are you not?
You know where they are?
Not exactly. But I do know how we could flush them out. Follow me.
For the first time in a very long time, Dracula had helped save the lives of innocent people, showing that Gabriel was still somewhere deep inside. And together with Victor and Alucard, the three men attempted to draw out the second acolyte, and Victor made the ultimate sacrifice to help his dark ancestor and to save the world.
Now hide yourselves.
We must take cover or his sacrifice will be in vain.
Miserere mihi peccatori! Amen!
Now you are the last, Belmont.
Dracula had tracked down the second acolyte and realized he was too powerful in this world.
What cheap trick is this? Very clever. So you have lured me to your castle. My power here is pathetic.
Reta froi, suot modinicat rivalet, orsu, running out in this damned place, but I will not be defeated by you. I will not fail.
Dracula's castle, enraged with Trevor's hold over his father, kidnapped him and showed its hideous true form, the dark inner side of Dracula.
I thought I took care of that boy a long time ago. He has inherited all of your worst traits, don't you think? Who the hell are you? I am the blood that runs through your veins. I am the dark shadow that chills the hearts of men as you pass. I am the fury, your hate and your vengeance. I am your destiny! What have you done with my son? He doesn't belong here. Only you do. I will consume your soul, drop by drop! You and I are one. I will be with you. Always.
Saving his son's spirit, Trevor was reunited with Marie and requested that his father not fail.
Don't let the acolyte escape.
Dracula and Alucard tracked down the final acolyte, attempting to resurrect Satan. It was time to remind his father about their plan.
We must destroy him before he can summon Satan.
You're not going anywhere.
Son. When will I meet you again?
When I put my hand on your shoulder, Father. Remember? Remember our pact, Father?
I remember it well, son.
And they waited as the acolyte finished the ritual to summon Satan. Appearing to finish the ritual, the acolyte disappeared. Zobec had secretly watched over their conversation, and he appeared, furious that he was fooled from the start, and he took his true form of death.
Miserable traitors! Now receive your just rewards for your disloyalty! Betrayer!
He is mine.
May you and your spawn be damned forever! Chamberlains, let the banquet begin!
Weak from the battle, Zobec rushed into a final attack on Dracula with the vampire killer in hand. Dracula had finally ended Zobec and took back his original weapon. Alucard and his father separated to locate the final acolyte, and when they found him, Satan had returned, not expecting to see his old enemy standing there.
I despise incompetence. I confess, I had not expected to see you here. We could share this world, you and I. I'm very well aware of your power, Gabriel. However, I desire to destroy this world.
From the depths of hell, Satan summoned the monstrous Leviathan, which would rain destruction on the world. But Dracula and Alucard climbed the beast together, and when it was about to fire an enormous beam of energy, they acted. Alucard falling unconscious gave Satan the opportunity he needed to oppose Dracula, and he possessed the vampire's body, forcing Dracula to fight his son once again.
I like this body. Let's see what it can do. It's your son who's suffering, not me. Don't hit me, Father! What now, Prince of Darkness? Are you going to kill your son again? I know you, Gabriel Belmont. Your feelings will betray you. You won't kill your son to destroy me.
You were wrong about me.
Dracula acted quickly with the vampire killer, giving Satan the final blow and ending his evil forever. Dracula had slain his enemies and saved his son.
Father.
The sun is rising. It's time to go.
What happens now?
Who knows what fate has in store?
Dracula no longer desired death. His son was back in his life and no longer his enemy. Influenced by Alucard and the spirit of his family, he no longer felt the same empty rage and hatred he once did, and chose to live a new life with Alucard at his side. No longer willing to believe that fate was in control and humanity freed from evil, Dracula, possibly Gabriel, headed towards an uncertain yet hopeful future, closing off the events of Castlevania, Lords of Shadow 2. This brings the Castlevania Marathon on GamerThumbTV to its conclusion. I hope you all enjoyed watching this series of videos. If you did, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. This is Fabian. I love you guys, and I will see you next time.